I'm Penny Dick's AstroCoach, and welcome to tonight's live stream and in-depth look at December the 4th, new moon in Sagittarius, which is also a total solar eclipse. More about that in a moment, because first of all, I want to just talk about some of the other astrology that is going on in December that we're already in the grips of. Because if you watch me regularly, then you will know that I have talked a lot this year about the Saturn-Uranus square. Now what that is Uranus in Taurus. Uranus is not comfortable in Taurus. Uranus is a planet of the unexpected, of knee-jerk decisions, of explosive behavior, etc. It's also a planet about freedom. Now, squaring Saturn in Aquarius, which is about restriction and slowing down, they couldn't be more opposite. Now, why I mention them is that today I was aware in the news that I was watching that this new variant for the virus has been discovered in South Africa. And this kind of fits in with the astrology. Not that I'm using events to fit in with the astrology, but it was a sort of almost known that something would occur during December that would bring about more of a contraction again. And my sense is, and that actually unfolded today on the world kind of stock exchange, that there would be a little bit of a tumble. Now, it's nothing to actually be particularly worried about, because it will level out and balance out when things settle down. But we may just go through a bit of what I would call turbulence whilst the powers that be get a sense of what this new variant is about. So, we're not out of the woods yet. And if I was looking a little bit further ahead in terms of the astrology, and somebody actually asked me today, well, what's going to be happening in 2022? And I said, well, really, we're going to get the first 2 or 3 months are going to be still a little bit what I would call sticky. But from about April onwards, it should start to ease off a bit and open up a bit. So we may have, let's put it this way, a rather challenging few months ahead. But, this is something about what this new moon is about. So the new moon is on December the 4th. So as I'm recording this, that's in about a week's time. But we have to look at what is the energy of a solar eclipse. Now, a solar eclipse only happens when you have a new moon. And if you watched the live I did last Friday, that was about the partial lunar eclipse in Taurus. So eclipses always come in kind of clusters, a bit like the virus really, isn't it? And so this particular eclipse is conjunct what we call the South Node, and that's known as the dragon's tail. It's where we've come from. It's what we're bringing into from our sort of, in a sense, karmic past. Now, that may be past lives, or it may just be the karmic past of this life that we're bringing that information in. So what's significant about eclipses? They emphasize the energy of not only the sign they're in, but also of the energy of whether it's a full moon or a new moon. Now, new moons are traditionally new beginnings and new opportunities. And my sense when I started doing the research for this is that this is an eclipse about letting go willingly of what no longer serves us, what no longer needs to be at the table in our life. Because we have to let go willingly so we can move forward on our respective paths. This particular Sagittarian energy, I think, helps us become aware of how far we've come and the possibilities that lie ahead for us as we embrace new beginnings that will come next year. Excuse me. That's how you know it's a live stream, because I have to have a sip of water. So this is about total honesty with the self, because Sagittarius is a sign about truth. It's about knowledge. It's about honesty. Transparency in many ways. Its ruling planet is Jupiter. Jupiter is luck, opportunity, but it expands. But it can also expand the dark as well as the light. But with this total honesty for the self, it's time for all of us with this new moon to walk our talk. But let's just have a little bit of a deeper look at what Sagittarius energy is about. It's an expansive, fiery energy. It seeks knowledge, understanding, and truth. So it's a new moon and solar eclipse where we can apply these principles to the key issues in our lives. And this next bit from my notes is really quite important, because the Taurus lunar eclipse that we had a week ago, the effects of that will last for 3 to 6 months. And there's so much I could say, but kind of certain things kind of prevent me, because one can get a sense of the endings that can come with these eclipse energies, because they are about complete change, changing of the guard, changing of the old order. So I just want to say to you that whatever, or if anything, has been removed from your life, people, situations, and that may still be to unfold over the next few months, allow that process of change and acknowledge that the divine, as I like to call it, is leading you towards a deeper knowledge, an understanding of your path and where you're going. Sagittarius is about where we're going. And the Taurus lunar eclipse was conjunct the North Node, which is also about where we're going. And this is where we're coming from, this solar eclipse. By the way, the solar eclipse is not going to be visible in the Northern Hemisphere. And in fact, in the Southern Hemisphere, because it's going to be most visible, and it's a total solar eclipse, over Antarctica. So I don't think I'll be popping down there for this particular event. The last eclipse I saw, or total solar eclipse, was the one we had, I think it was August 1999. And I was in Luxembourg at that time, and it was a phenomenal experience. But let's look at this particular lunation, because Mercury, our planet of communication, is conjunct this new moon. So communication is highlighted. Neptune, however, which is our planet of mystery, the unseen, deception, things just not seeming clear, smoke and mirrors, just not clear stuff. Neptune is making quite a hard angle to this new moon. So it wouldn't surprise me if over the next week, because the energy will already be building up, even though the actual event doesn't happen until Saturday the 4th, that we may see hard truths being revealed. And Neptune suggests that there's a sense of confusing information that will come to light that really sits uncomfortably with the Sagittarius desire for truth. Now, I mean, I wrote this about a week ago, and I'm just thinking about what was being talked on the news today about the new variant in South Africa. And of course, to a certain extent, we probably are still getting confusing information around that, because it's such an unknown, unseen quantity, so they can't really know yet how that's going to sort of play itself out. But we've also seen, of course, various countries experiencing surges with the pandemic and outbursts of violence on the streets. So it will be interesting to see how those in charge deal with all of this. There are some good things about this new moon, and there's a lot of good things about this new moon. And when I come to do your personal individual zodiac signs in the second half of this video, you'll see that actually it's not that bad. It's, you know, new moons are lovely opportunities, and Sagittarius is about, you know, it's the sign of travel. It's the sign of higher learning, of higher knowledge, of consciousness expanding into, you know, the sort of the depths of the universe, and having enlightenment and really understanding things at a much deeper level than perhaps one has done before. So we've got Chiron, who is the asteroid which is known as the wounded healer. He was the centaur. And Chiron is in a harmonious link to this new moon. So it's encouraging healing the past, because if you remember, it's the south node. So this is where we're coming from. And within the wisdom of past experiences, it's trying to teach us, I feel, not to keep repeating the same mistakes. There's a saying which I learned from a friend who used to work at Relate, the couples counselling organisation in the United Kingdom. And this saying is, if you keep on doing what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. And I think there's something about that energy with this new moon. So this new moon is bringing opportunities to experiment with different solutions to existing problems. And it's enhanced by the powerful conjunction which is also happening at this new moon, which is between Venus, our planet of relationships, love, but Venus can also be about self-worth, value. It can be about our self-esteem. And it can also be just in a sense, our monetary value as well, and how rich we feel. And it's not always money that can make us feel rich. Now, Venus is coming up to conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. Now, Pluto, of course, is all about transformation. Pluto is about transformation and endings and beginnings. Now, it's been in Capricorn for a long time, and it's going to be there until 2024. And then it'll move into Aquarius, and whew, that's going to be big. But whilst Pluto is in Capricorn, Pluto has been working away behind the scenes to tear down the old order, to change the way we all operate, whether that's on an individual, sort of personal level, or whether it's actually a sort of the sort of governmental stage, or, you know, institutions, big business, big corporations. So Venus coming up to conjunct Pluto shows me that we have to look at what values do we have on an individual level that could do with a bit of a shake-up. It's always good to keep questioning ourselves. And Sagittarius, of all the signs, implores us to upgrade our thinking and to drag ourselves well and truly into the 21st century. The saying that the only certainty in life is change is never truer than with this total solar eclipse new moon in Sagittarius. Now I'm going to kind of read what I've written here, because I find when I'm doing these blogs, if you like, for the script that I'm going to work from when I do these lives and also when I do the monthlies, that I tend to sort of, I don't know where it comes from. It's a channeling. And so when I came back and reread this, I thought, oh, who wrote that? I don't recognize that. But actually, it's interesting stuff. So here we go. So we need to expand our thinking and allow ourselves to become more open and aware, to elevate our consciousness to a higher vibration, to tune in to the vibrations that we are constantly bombarded with, and consciously select to discard the lower basal vibrations and situations and people that do not resonate at the same vibration as we do. So this event is very much about a changing of the old guard, whether that's in your individual lives or on the world stage. And however you choose to interpret that, this changing of the old guard, then that is up to you. Once the current astrological energies have finished with us, then those who have gone into it willingly and have learned to adapt will be able to move forward in a much freer and more enlightened way. We will never go back to the old normality. And what we have to ask ourselves is, do we really want to? Do we really need to go back to how things were? So don't look back with whatever is unfolding for you in your lives. Just look forward, as that's the way you're going. Okay, now I'm going to go through your individual signs, and I'm going to keep them brief because I think with eclipses, it's very exact. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what I feel the area of your life that is being most affected by this particular eclipse. And remember, it's in Sagittarius. So Aries, for you first. Okay, so this eclipse, of course, is in the part of your chart that is ruled by Sagittarius, because you're the first sign of the zodiac. And it's very much going to be about, for you, truth, honesty, knowledge. It's about an expansion of your consciousness. It's about you rising above what does not serve you. It's about you seeing the bigger picture and recognizing that you can really do some very worthwhile pruning in your life. That could be situations or people, to actually clear the ground for what's meant to come in, to come in. Taurus. For you, Taurus, it's in the part of your chart that is connected with joint finances. It can also be transformation. It's also about commitment. And it's about a very deep part of you, Taurus, which you keep quite hidden. And I just suspect, Taurus, that you will be going through some quite personal inner transformations and understandings that you will probably want to keep to yourself for the time being. Gemini. Well, of course, Sagittarius is your opposite sign. So this is very much about the very, very significant people in your life. And I think new opportunities for fresh talk, for precise, clear talk, for expansive talk with those that are in your life that perhaps there has been a sense of miscommunication or crossed wires. So this is your opportunity, Gemini, to get your message across to your loved ones. Also, if you have business partners, that can be part of this area as well. It's also, interestingly, the house of enemies. And if there is anyone in your life that perhaps you've had your thoughts about, that maybe they don't actually have your best interests at heart, then I think you will get the awareness that you need to recognize that and see the truth of it and cut out that does not serve you. Cancer. So for you, Cancer, this is very much about your day-to-day routine. It's also about your health. And I think you're going to be getting, in a sense of a new lease of life. It would be an excellent time to start a new health regime. You know, if want to shed a few pounds or kilos leading up to the festive season, then this would be a good time to just cut back a little bit to use this new moon energy in a really constructive way so that you can change. Because this is a solar eclipse about change. And I think you need to change your daily routine. The daily routine that has perhaps got a little bit humdrum. You need to just start changing the way you're doing things and just shifting things around. Leo. Well, this could be a fun, eventful new moon solar eclipse for you because it's in the part of your chart that is to do with fun and partying and creativity. Also, it can be romance. And I wonder whether something will be shifting in some respects to do with a relationship. It could even be a significant relationship that needs a little bit of romance injected into it. You know, sometimes we forget that our other half was the person that we waited for them to call us or we waited for them to text us. And there they are sitting on the sofa watching the telly or cooking the meal or whatever. And so sometimes I think we have to remember that it's important not to lose sight of what brings us together. And I think that's something about this new moon for you, Leo. So find the truth in your relationships. Virgo. Well, it looks like either you're putting up the Christmas decorations early, although some people would say the beginning of December is not early, but anyway, I'll leave that for all of you to think about. But for you, it's in the part of your chart that is to do with home and family. And I think it feels like there's some new opportunities to perhaps have a better understanding with maybe family members that there has been some mismatch with, or just lack of connecting at the right level. It feels as if you in particular, Virgo, need to lift your vibration out of that lower energy and see the light. It's like, you know, Sagittarius is a very, what I think of as a bright sign. It's Jupiter, it's opportunity, it's luck, it's expansive thinking because we've got Mercury there. So actually, Virgo, think outside the box or think outside the home. Libra, this particular new moon for you is very much about communication because it is in that part of your chart. It's also to do with short distance travel, that there may be something that you need to change with regard to how you're managing your short distance travel. It's what can I say? It just feels like there may be things that you're hearing from close friends, neighbours, that, again, like I said for one of the other signs, is maybe not quite straight. So try and be a bit discerning, Libra. Really stand back and get your own sense about where the truth is and what the truth is. Scorpio. Okay, so this is in the part of your chart very much to do with your self-worth, your feelings of your self-esteem, your economic value as well, your particular richness. And it's a solar eclipse. So what's being eclipsed in your life to do with those subjects is somebody not communicating with you in a clear enough way. Because I think that with this kind of energy, it's very much about clarity. That Neptune is really getting in the way here. Now, Neptune rules Pisces. And, you know, Neptune's been in Pisces for a long time. And Jupiter is right at the end of Aquarius before it moves into Pisces. And I just feel that clarity needs to come in your dealings with others where financial situations are concerned. And also your value, because, as I said, money isn't just about money, or value and richness isn't just about money. It's about how people value you. What are you worth? What are you worth to you, and what are you worth to others? Sagittarius, well, this is your new moon. And this, I think, is an excellent new moon solar eclipse for you. Very powerful. And I think you are going to have plenty to say about how you want next year, the next few months, to unfold. I think you've got new ideas. I think people are going to see you far more fired up about the things that you feel passionately about. I think there's a sense that you may have been caught a little bit in the doldrums and in the shadows a bit. And this eclipse energy is going to help you shine. Capricorn. For you, Capricorn, this is also about enlightenment on one level, because it's in the part of your chart which is very much to do with the inner you and your psychology, that deep inner self, your psyche. And it feels like you will have some aha kind of realizations, as if everything is crystallizing and becoming clear. And if there have been things that you just feel that perhaps you just couldn't see clearly, it's just going to suddenly, it's like the scales will fall away from your eyes and you'll see it so much more clearly, so that you can act appropriately with the information you now have about how you want the next part of your life to unfold. Aquarius. So for you, Aquarius, this is in that part of your chart that's to do with hopes and dreams. It's to do with groups of people, friends. It's to do with the internet, connecting with people at a distance, you know, via the internet. And I would imagine that it's just showing us that you're going to be feeling much more connected. And, you know, Aquarius, I've just been writing out your January astrology, and it's an interesting time for you at the moment. you're going through a lot of changes, and this last new moon of the year really does give you a chance to set the scene, set your intentions for how you would like your life to unfold in 2022. So use that energy. Think about the eclipse in the sense that some things have to go. Eclipses are endings or big change. So think about what really you do not need to take with you forward on this journey. We can't carry heavy baggage when we move forward, especially when we are learning about ourselves. We cannot carry that baggage with us. Pisces. Okay. For you, Pisces, this is about your path in life, your career, your soul path, your soul journey. This is about you making new beginnings, new inroads into perhaps new ideas you've got. Now, Sagittarius is very much a sign of, it can be a sign of inflation. And I don't mean financially, it can just mean that sometimes we get a bit inflated. And Pisces, because you are a sign that is not the best sign with boundaries, let's put it that. I've got a Pisces moon. I know about these things. So, but what I feel this is saying with any new business ventures, Pisces, keep your feet on the ground. I know fish don't have feet, but you need to be kind of planting your metaphorical feet on the ground. With any big ideas you've got for next year, just try and take a realistic tack on them. So that's what I feel for this particular new moon, total solar eclipse. If you want to see it, pop down to the Antarctic and you'll get fabulous views. Total solar eclipse, fantastic, wonderful stuff. So the energy is already building. We're still in the energy of the partial lunar eclipse from last Friday. So just go with these energies. We're going through a time of, I likened it today, it's a bit like, I've probably said this before, being on an aircraft and you're going through turbulence. We've been doing that for quite some time. We've probably been doing it for the last 2 years. And there have been periods where we've cruised, and then we're now going through a little bit of turbulence again. But we will land safely on the other side. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. And thank you also for those of you that have recently subscribed to my YouTube channel. This will be available, if you've missed any of it, on my YouTube channel from this weekend. And also I'd like to say, if you would like a one-to-one with me for astro coaching, then please do get in touch. I still have 1 or 2 spaces leading up to Christmas. So if you would like to have a natal chart reading with me, please get in touch and I will put my website in the description box. In the meantime, I wish you well and happy times, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.